we heard you, like, obviously your closest relationship right now, is your child. And how is it entering relationships, like building new friendships or building new partnerships, or how is that with your your outside life or your personal life, or building personal relationships outside of that?
It's definitely something that it's complicated. It's complicated with, I think, with any children. If you have kids, you got to put their needs first. But with mine, he's a lot. And I need to know with any relationship that I have, if that person is going to be able to be in our lives, is going to be able to handle how different my life looks compared to people with typical kids. I have a friend who she gets very queasy when it comes to anything medical. So the first time that she met my son was when we were in Philly in the NICU, and God love her, like she knew going into it that this was tough for her, and she came anyways. It's a 2-hour drive, and she got in and she saw him hooked up to all the machines and the tubes and the beeping and all that, and she turned pure white. She had to sit down. She's like, I'm gonna pass out. But it meant so much to me because she did something that she knew she was probably going to faint over, and but she was there, and I will never forget that.
Definitely.
And there are people that they face it head on, and when it comes to kids or people with special needs, a lot of people, they don't know how to react. There's not a lot of, I think, people don't want to talk about it. So when their kid points to my kid and says, what's wrong with him? Or look at his glasses, or look at what's on his ears, or, whatever, parents immediately shush them. And nothing makes a special needs parent feel worse than to be overlooked and to be shushed and to be shied away.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing to do is come up and talk to us and say, hey, my son was wondering what's on his ears, or why does he walk like that, or what's that thing in his stomach? Because we want to educate people, we want to make connections, and I think that's what it's about. Bottom line is, people, no matter what they look like or what they have going on, it's about connection.
Definitely.
So you had the opportunity to educate some of these parents, or children in passing, or I don't know if you and Joey go to the park, or if there's ever a time when there are other kids that you are in the same area and you can educate at that time. Do you have those opportunities?
They're few and far between, because like I said, we encounter a lot of people that just make very rash decisions. I can remember I was in the grocery store with him, and I was pushing him in the shopping cart, and he was piled with toilet paper and napkins and paper towels because he physically could not sit up. He had no strength. And a woman was with a teenage daughter, and they were walking by, and they said, they pointed to me and to him, and they said, that's what happens when you do drugs when you're pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
So a lot of people that, at least the comments that I have heard, have been very harsh. And I've definitely had to develop a thick skin when it comes to that. But I notice a lot of people, they'll come up and try to talk to him, and he's not responding, he's deaf. So immediately I'm like, he can't hear you, he's not being rude, he's deaf. And they immediately say, oh, I'm so sorry, or I'll pray for you. And I'm like, we don't need to be prayed for. Like, I appreciate it, but you can wave hi. And it's just those simple things that I think they feel more embarrassed than anything.
Definitely. I think, like, this brings us straight back to what we was talking about with dealing with strangers. You see, like, they're treating you like you were saying that we should treat people outside. Like, Yeah, it would. It is taught to us, if you see a kid with special needs, it's rude to point, stare, look, even ask questions.
Yeah.
That's what's told us. But you have a different approach because now you have a child with special needs, and now you understand the culture more. And now you understand that you're a minority now. So you get to see, like, there's a lot of things being taught that aren't basically what you want, because you're being isolated, you're being shunned. You're not, you don't really encounter people being themselves, because they look at you and they automatically see charity. They automatically see disgust. They don't see the person. So do you experience that now when you get into more intimate relationships? Do you find yourself experiencing that same level of like charity and being looked down upon and things of that nature?
Sometimes, I think I appreciate when, and I tell people right up front, ask me anything. A question to me, like, you can't insult me by asking a question, and you're not going to understand or fully know us until, if something's on your mind, you need to ask me about it.
Definitely.
But I think I'm pretty selective when it comes to who I let in Joey's life. I will say when he was small, and when I was pregnant with him, I had a couple other acquaintances, and we were all pregnant at the same time. So all of our kids grew up together. And I could remember, all that they would get together for play group and swim lessons, and we were never invited. And it hurt. So I think right now I kind of have like focus eyes on who I'm gonna let in, because I don't want, I'm protective of him. Definitely. And it was my fault for not stepping up and saying, hey, could we come too?
Definitely.
But
yeah, this is the Accountable Love Show. So
at that time, yep. So at that time, I was like, all my emotions, I was feeling hurt, and I was crying, and I was like, I can't believe they would do this to me. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize that I had that opportunity to approach them and say, hey, can I bring Joey?
Definitely. Or confront them about